Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nona from theonlinelover.com. In today's video, we will be looking at a range of different outfits and styles on Sofia Loren, who is a soft dramatic, and I also consider her to fall under the Hourglass category in terms of conventional body type theory. I want to talk a little bit about the common ground between the KB-inspired soft dramatic recommendations and the Hourglass recommendations. But most importantly, I want to present a range of looks for the soft dramatic to be inspired by. I know a lot of the time soft dramatics can be presented a very limited image of what could look good on them, but there is just so much to their style. It can be interpreted in so many ways, and the soft dramatic doesn't have to limit herself to overemphasizing a very hourglass, buxomy, curvaceous look. There can be more playful looks, more bold and eccentric looks, and more casual, comfortable looks as well. Before we get into the outfits, I just want to talk about Sofia's silhouette a little bit. So here are 3 photos of her where you can clearly see her body and you can see right away that she is tall. She has a lot of length to her. I don't think anyone could mistake her for someone who is very compact and petite and short and small in stature. She has a lot of verticality, sweeping length to her. She's also very curvaceous. Her flesh is soft. Her flesh is very prominent. There's a very emphasized blossoming of her flesh, especially at the chest and at the upper thighs. And she also has a bit of angularity to her frame. You can see that her shoulders to her waist form a sort of inverted triangle throughout her waist and hips. You can see a slight trapezoid, and then from there on, you see a very fleshy, long leg line. Looking at her body through a sort of different frame, I would say the most dominant kind of trajectory or the most prominent kind of momentum featured on her body is sleekness and curve. Long, elongated curves. So she looks best in items that honor that. And by sleekness, I mean a sense of contained vertical continuity, like a glossy stream of water, a trickle of water. It's got that very contained, shining, smooth, fluid element to it, but it's not super diffuse. And she also has curve to her, a sense of blossoming. So items should also allow her most fleshy parts to really bloom in their softness without flattening or constraining or imposing too much angularity and structure upon her. We also have to remember that Sofia is a larger woman, and there's nothing wrong with being a larger woman, just like there's nothing wrong with being a smaller woman. Small, short is just as good as tall and big. There's so many different body types. So please do not feel like larger is bad. NBA players are larger. That doesn't make them bad. So if men can be described as larger without having any of that kind of negative connotation to it, I think women should also be described as larger with a positive connotation. Okay, so she has a larger body, larger features. So her details need to reflect that. They need to be size appropriate. Straps, necklines, prints, ornaments, bigger and bolder. So here I just want to give 2 examples of items or outfits that don't honor the factors that I spoke of in the last 2 slides. Obviously, Sofia is a very beautiful woman. She can make anything look wonderful, but I have to get nitpicky to make examples and hopefully give some insight. So here we're seeing that volume in the wrong places, delicacy, and too much symmetry can obscure her sleek elongation and curves. So, what I mean by symmetry, first and foremost, is a sense of an item or an outfit being very centered, being very oriented towards the center, middle, front symmetry, and having an emphasized balance. So, the same details on other side. Funnily enough, if you have a very plain, simple neckline, nothing to it, it's just as technically symmetrical as a collared shirt with buttons down the middle, but because there's so many more details on the button-down shirt, that emphasizes the center-oriented symmetry. So, an example of that would be here. This dress on the left has these very symmetrical details on the collar with a very symmetrical neckline, and that tends to obscure the sleekness and the elongated curve of her body, as well as kind of diluting that inverted triangle she has up top. Now, in terms of delicacy, these polka dots are on the smaller side, and in terms of volume, we're seeing a lot of volume in the skirt, so you're not seeing that lovely long leg line as much. The more voluminous skirt is kind of balancing out the top of the body. Sophia is more top heavy, I would say. She has larger breasts than she does hips. So, conventional body shape theory tends to emphasize balancing the chest with a more voluminous, rounded hip line or skirt. And I don't think that works, especially if you are tall and more top heavy. That just obscures the natural momentum of your body. Now on the right, we're seeing more delicacy again with these tiny little halter straps and the very small print, and again the volume with the skirt. Oppositely, look how much more embracing these sleeker dresses are with a bit more angularity being accounted for. You're seeing the path of her body, all those contours, all those twists and turns, and no excess volume is being imposed upon her. So you're really seeing the trajectory of her silhouette, and it's very beautiful. And here are just two more examples. So, which dress looks more like a dramatized second skin, and which one looks more like a uniform that she has to force herself into? All right, now that we've talked about some of the factors behind the more successful looks and items on Sophia, let's talk about easing up that diva chic image and kind of bringing it down to earth to more comfortable everyday life situations and items. The soft dramatic, Sophia being one of them, can look very fresh and easygoing and can really shine in lighter styles that don't dramatize their curves or dramatize a diva vibe. This is especially helpful if there are any soft dramatics who feel like this diva essence is a bit foreign or it's a bit too forced or performative. There's still so many styles that you can wear that honor your body that don't have to look so fierce. That being said, the guidelines still apply. You still want to look for items that honor length and curve and a bit of angularity with larger details. And of course, you can play with smaller details as long as they're just little touches and you are really setting a good foundation. Because when you set a good foundation for your outfit, you can play with more things because you have that strong core. It's kind of like the 80-20 principle. If 80% of your outfit is really flattering and accommodating your body, you can use the rest of that 20% to, inject a little bit more fun or something more challenging or unexpected into your look. So here are three gorgeous sundresses worn by Sophia. She looks so fresh and sweet and very simple. These are simple dresses, but they still have these lovely elements that make her body look very celebrated and embraced. We're seeing beautiful big patterns, and we're seeing more clear, plunging, or very well-defined, bolder necklines, like with a sweetheart neckline or this deep, narrow, plunging V neckline. We're seeing big sashes, and we're seeing a bit of pleating here and here and here, but it's more soft, mainly because of the material, and there's, I don't think, a petticoat underneath. So having that soft volume can still honor a body like Sophia's. It's just when you add too much of that pleating, too much of that volume and the petticoats, it takes it out of balance. Here are 3 more casual looks. She looks very at home, easy, but she still looks 100% herself. You wouldn't say, oh, I wouldn't recognize her. She's still totally recognizable. She's just in something much more, I would say, earthy and grounded and less glamorous. Here are some looks that are good examples of favoring boldness over, I guess, sexiness or sensuality, or really dramatizing breasts or hips or an hourglass figure. The soft dramatic can really pull off these larger than life accents, like large hats, large bows, just very large details, very loud, bold prints, bold colors, big glasses, because they have this structure and innate drama and style to them that allows these elements to sing. So if you feel like your outfit is a little bit too plain for you, but you don't want to emphasize your curves, you can try leaning into more eccentric or bold, exaggerated, or playful elements. So here are some more examples of that with these bold violet and black stripes. Here's a very boldly colored, gorgeous dress with these bold blue scarves and belts and shoes. It's really lovely and chic and put together, but she's not showing off her body. So if you feel uncomfortable with some other suggestions, you feel too exposed, you don't have to expose anything really. And here's another perfect example of that. The big luxurious colored coat and the hat with the big bold makeup. She's totally covered up, but she still has that boldness to her, and she's still honoring her shape. And lastly, it really comes down to confidence and really leaning into your look, really committing. Here she has this gigantic fur overcoat on and these large glasses. Here she has, again, these amazingly oversized and exaggerated glasses, this turtleneck, and this fun printed blazer. And here she's really leaning into a menswear inspired look, and she looks just as fabulous next to Grace Kelly, who is always quite perfect looking, always looking quite poised and elegant. So really it's about emphasizing boldness and confidence, whatever that looks like for you, using different shapes, playing with sizing, playing with extremes if you want to add a big dose of sharpness or softness to your strong foundation that can also create a sense of boldness. So that was it for my soft dramatic video for today. I will cover another soft dramatic next in the series, but I really hope that this helps you think of more possibilities for your looks, and really just don't feel limited to one kind of aesthetic, as long as you're honoring your main attributes, your lines, because every soft dramatic has a different body. They're going to have different lines, different effects with different items of clothing. As long as you have the foundation down, then that should work.